Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of OWC 2020's bracket stage. I am this one guy. We're going to be starting off today with the United Kingdom versus Chile in the first round match of the day. I am joined today by Chilier Pair for a matchup that is going to be a lot of fun for everyone involved. Good morning, Chilier. How are you doing today?
Hey man, what's up man? How's it going? Welcome to the match of the morning. It is currently 10 a.m. here. Very fun time. The afternoon for most people. We got a fun one this morning. This is gonna be good. A lot of big roster changes on both of these teams here.
Yes, these are two teams in a matchup that I think, thanks to the roster changes that they've undergone over the past year, are going to be a lot closer on paper than a lot of people would have thought, and I think this is going to be a better matchup than might be expected considering the United Kingdom's historical pedigree. A couple big changes for both teams this year. The United Kingdom, of course, losing Spare and Carthy, bringing in Kingling, bringing in other new players as well, bringing back Doomsday. Meanwhile, Chile, of course, gaining Intercambing, gaining TFGE, a couple players who have made a name for themselves in the community tournament scene, are looking to challenge a United Kingdom team that is in what I would say is a little bit of a rebuilding phase.
This will be a little bit of an interesting year for them, definitely. United Kingdom finishing top 3 last year, having a decent amount of roster change there. As you mentioned, they are missing Spare and Carthy this year, who were arguably 2 of their 3 best players, joining Bubbleman up on the top of the UK team there. So definitely a bit of a downgrade from the overall skill cap on the team, but they've definitely brought on a lot of very good new talent that is going to help the UK team in the long run, which I definitely think is something that's important that they look towards that now. Get some of the new players seasoned for the World Cups as they need to slowly replace people. Chile kind of making a couple necessary roster changes, some players kind of leaving, some players maybe not the best compared to what they had now. They brought on some big name players like Intercambing and TFGE, who are going to be very, very big additions to that team this year. Intercambing, most notably, probably the best player of community tournaments in Chile of the year right now. He has really been showing off anywhere that you have seen him. So a fantastic addition. And then TFGE starting to make a name for himself around community tournaments as well. His overall consistency and ability to play high level maps at his rank range continues to impress people. So we have a very quick pick and ban here. We have 2 DT bans, DT1 and DT2 by the UK and Chile respectively. And Chile will be picking BS Power Explosion. We've seen a free mod 1 pick a lot from a lot of teams as a first pick. That's something that I can't exactly put my finger on why, though.
Yeah, I suppose it's just one of those maps that people feel very comfortable on. You know, Chile bringing back Matthew this year after he didn't play in 2019, and along with Intercambing, going to be 2 incredibly strong combo players for maps like this. United Kingdom, of course, bringing in Malteser for his first year in OWC. He'll get to go in for the first map of their bracket, stage first match as well here with this one being picked. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a pick that lets players get their feet wet pretty comfortably and lets the teams figure out their strategy a little bit on pre-mod as well. You know, where you're, of course, required for each team to have a minimum of 1 hidden and then 1 hard rock / hidden hard rock. So, you know, kind of early strategy pick, early relative comfort pick. It's not too long, not too fast. You know, 2 minutes, 18 seconds, 180 BPM. So most players are going to be pretty comfortable on the map in general, which I think lends it to be a pretty decent early pick for a lot of rosters in this tournament, especially the stronger teams where they're going to be well-rounded and they're going to be able to find a good 4-man squad for just about any type of map, including this one.
I've seen a lot of teams, you know, they kind of switch between putting their new players in and being pretty confident on free mod 1 here. I think in terms of the UK, they're probably just going to put in the strongest lineup that they can for now, especially against Chile. I mentioned it yesterday, but there are a lot of these matches that are going to be, you know, kind of big blowouts. being round of 32, there's a lot of spaced out seedings and some teams that are just generally stronger overall. And then you have matches like this one in the UK versus Chile, where on an early stage pool, anything can really happen here. There are so many strong players on both teams here, and the UK really just needs to put their best foot forward if they want to try and take this match away the way that the UK could have in previous years. Looks like they're going to be sticking with a mostly tried and true lineup on Free Mod 1 here with Bubbleman, Boss, and Doomsday. However, joined by new Kingling, I imagine he'll be their hard rock for today. Definitely a good addition on that mod by quite a bit. He's known for that consistency and accuracy there. Chile running with a solid modded lineup as well with all of their players here. But we've seen some over-modding on this pick as well, namely the United States and I believe Poland both over-modding by 1 or 2 different mods on here. And we saw players like the Blaze going HDHR on this. So, it wouldn't surprise me to see more of that here.
Yes, with these being 2 teams that are so strong on mods, it wouldn't be shocking, but it does appear we're not going to see the overmod. So we have Kingling coming in on Hidden Hard Rock, Doomsday Hidden Only, Bubbleman, Voss both no mod. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're going to have Zax Reed on Hard Rock, No 37 on Hidden, and Camming and Matthew both on the no mod. So kind of the top players on either team going to be the no mod players. It's a strategy we've seen a lot of top teams use where you put your absolute strongest player in on a no mod to ensure very high score. And it's what we're going to see here from both of these guys as we get this match underway with map number 1 in United Kingdom versus Chile. United Kingdom 12th seed coming out of qualifiers. Chile as the number 21 seed. A little bit lower than we're used to seeing UK, and a pretty respectable showing for Chile as they look to make a splash here in OWC with a very new roster with some very strong, unheralded players in the grand scene, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, so we have a big break actually right there from Zax Reed. That is pretty far into the map at 380 combo, being only 2 minutes and 18 seconds long. There is not a lot of opportunity for those mid-range breaks, but Doomsday and Voss both traded out actually, so that's going to be combo advantage for Chile. But Matthew, as I see that, finds a break. So it's dead even between these players here. And Kingling on that HDHR, this is that accuracy and consistency I was mentioning. That 99.58 is an absolute stomp of accuracy on a double mod for this free mod pick here as we come into these streams. Bubbleman looking very confident on the no mod. We've seen a lot of the strong teams just decide to put their best player on the no mod for this pick. We saw the same thing from the United States on Vaxe. Now, we haven't seen Germany yet, so it'll be interesting to see what they will do with players like Dust Ice and White Cat on this map. But a lot opting for the free combo on there. Number 37 does find a break, and it's just intercamping left on the combo for Chile on the double S. Kingling finds the break, but I believe it is far too late for a massive comeback here. It's Voss trying to hold off Matthew, but Zax Reed actually making a big combo difference here. Hold on a second. This is going to be very big at the ending. Chile's going to bring this back. No, but intercamping breaks! And that's going to be it. Intercamping had all the opportunity in the world right there to bring this back, and Bubbleman just said, nope, I'm going to hold this double S all the way until the end of the map, and you can't stop me. And he's just going to run in.
And that is a very sad ending to the map for Chile, with the 84,000 point win going over to the United Kingdom. It just comes down to that one miss at the very end. The one miss from Intercamming, one miss from Matthew, one miss from number 37, and it's actually literally 4 misses for their team. Doomsday with 4 misses, Voss with 2, and Kingling with 1. Bubbleman coming in with the SS. As to be expected from the no-mod player, but it's really just those couple late misses that ended up making the difference, unfortunately, and that is going to give the United Kingdom the 1-0 break point advantage. Still go on into their own first pick. But that was very close. That very much could have gone either way.
So that was almost pretty close at the end there. Intercamping really trying to put up a good performance there on the first free mod map, but it was very close at the ending there. Bubbleman just coming out and doing what he does there at the ending. So very good.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, out of the top teams with their carry players on Nomad allows for scores like that to occur where you see, whether it's Bubbleman or Vaxe or someone along those lines, they put somebody like that in on Nomad and they come out and just run train and get the SS. Gonna be the first pick of Hard Rock 1 for the United Kingdom here. That is Painful Fate by Neko Mata Master. That is it's a Hard Rock pick that's been much more popular than the other. Hard Rock 1 much more popular than Hard Rock 2 here. 2 minutes long, 190, just over 190 BPM. So it is relatively comfortable in those facets, but it is a map that can test you by the end of things because it's fairly unrelenting. The quints and slightly longer bursts really never let up on this one. And of course, it's going to test your accuracy, and that's something United Kingdom is obviously known for with guys like Kingling and Boss and Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock definitely makes a lot of sense from them, and to be noted, we have our second really short pick in a row. The first one being around 2 minutes, and this one being about the exact same. Painful Fate, we've seen this song in a couple of the community tournaments here, and it requires a lot of awkward aim patterns in here. And it was really, it's been interesting to see some of the plays. We've seen a lot of big chokes on this map from some teams that we didn't expect it from. So this map has definitely given a lot of trouble to players, even, strong Hard Rocks. United Kingdom lineup along with Chile, however, definitely stronger than a lot of teams we've seen thus far as well. So something to be said about the level of teams, depending on the performance. But we've seen some good teams kind of drop it as well.
Yeah, this one, it's about 890 combo, and I can't count the number of players it seems like we've had at around 800 combo missing in that just ending. But hopefully that won't happen to these teams, and we'll avoid having those last second drops like we did in the previous map, or like we've seen on this map before. So this is going to round out with Kingling, Bubbleman, Majora, and Voss taking on Intercambing, Mathy, IGN, and Zaxreed. See if Chile can get the break point right back here, or United Kingdom will be successful on their own first pick. This is one that I think could probably go either way, technically speaking, considering the plays we've seen on this map and the plays we've seen from both these teams.
A couple big drops at the beginning here. Zaxreed most notably dropping again at the beginning of the map. His accuracy not too far behind, but something big to note is the accuracy of Chile as a whole really starting to fall behind the UK as they consistently hold towards that 99 with IGN fighting for.
There's the mismatch. Yeah. United Kingdom is just so good at consistency. I mean, there are a lot of players who've just been in a ton of tournaments, or players who are known for their consistency, like Kingling. That's a big addition for that team, I think, this year, because he's so good at this exact skill set where you just don't miss and you keep your accuracy up quite high as well. You'll have kind of that joke of players combo gaming versus accuracy. Kingling has both of those things, and with another break from Zaxreed, Chile is going to fall pretty far behind here. Intercambing and Mathy do hold on to their FCs, but it's a four-way full combo for the United Kingdom still, and we're already past halfway into the last third of the map. Intercambing breaking again as well means that this one is more or less over.
Yeah, I was like right as we mentioned it, Intercambing unfortunately finding the break. It's something we don't see from Intercambing too often. Normally he's known as kind of like that combo savior for a lot of teams. There goes Majora for the UK, so there's finally a break. But Intercambing kind of breaking like towards the later parts of the map here. Kingling does trade, so we're starting to get a little bit closer. But it's just Mathy versus Bubbleman and Boss. Right now, the UK looking strong.
Yeah, and as I said, you do get a lot of breaks. They're right at about 8:15 and 8:10 combo from Boss. That's exactly where people end up missing on this one. Only one FC left now for the United Kingdom. Bubbleman out here match cost farming. Mathy will also FC. Bubbleman with the far superior accuracy, though, and the United Kingdom just a far better team-wide play on that one. As I said, right around 800 combo. You do start seeing some of those breaks, but United Kingdom had established a very large lead by then already. And despite the FC from Mathy and the S rank from Intercambing, just not enough for Chile as they fell behind pretty far. And that's a 2-0 lead for the United Kingdom. They consolidate the break point.
Yeah, Bubbleman with a 4x100 play, exceedingly impressive. Compared to all the other players in the lobby, the accuracy not really close on anybody given the misses. I think Kingling and Voss were the next two closest in terms of just how their misses added up. But the UK looking strong to rally around Bubbleman right now. This is going to be a good way for them to start off the tournament here. This could be a very contested match if Chile, however, starts to kind of pull themselves together a little bit. I think it's been kind of one big star player on the UK that's kind of shined on a couple of these maps, and the all-around performance on Chile is just the early breaks kind of lose a little bit more score than they want.
And they are going to go with the fascinating pick to me of hidden number 1. That is Romance Gaaria Maru. I don't know that I expected a hidden pick here from Chile against this UK roster, but, you know, it's one where if their consistency and reading players can get going, maybe they can find some success. They're going to change up the skill set a little bit here, going from free mod into hard rock now into hidden. So make everybody adjust a little bit, and of course we get an absolute jam here. This song is so good. Just adds to the enjoyment of playing it.
It's all about the song enjoyment. That's a lot of it here, and UK looks like they're going to be bringing back a tried and true hidden lineup here, something we haven't seen in a long time. Doomsday coming in to regale us with his AR9 hidden performance that we've seen in so many OWCs, past OWCs. And he'll be back this year. Let's see if he's bigger and badder than ever. Show up.
He took that year off, didn't play OWC in 2019 last year, but does return this year, and he's going to be in for this type of skill set. Anything, I think, hidden or low AR especially. Obviously, that is what he is known for as an older player, an old map player, as well as just a very experienced tournament player. You know, he is able to play a lot of different things, in pools like this. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chile got to decide on a fourth here. Looks like maybe Matthew going out or going to practice the map while we're waiting. But this is, I think, a United Kingdom squad that'll be very good at this type of thing, with Bubbleman and Doomsday leading the way. It is going to be Matthew staying in. So Matthew intercamping TFGE and number 37 on the Chile side. Blue and Majora rounding out the UK roster.
They have some strong hidden in a lot of the players on the UK that you probably wouldn't expect. I think the UK has a lot of players that are more well-rounded than they lead on, given their solo plays and of the like. You know, most notably players like Majora, I think, and Doomsday kind of stick out. As you mentioned, Doomsday is definitely a very well-rounded tournament player. He's able to fill for a lot of things. Majora, someone that people kind of would normally pick out as one of those like DT speed players, actually very good at very awkward aim and tech maps and stuff like this when you just throw a mod on, and he can just combo through it. So a good solid lineup here for the UK. This is kind of a classic lineup for them. This is a good old like 2018 style UK lineup here.
This is a map that, as you said, it has awkward aim, it has some reading requirement, and, you know, just a little bit of consistency involved as well. I mean, it's only 5.6 stars, but it is, you know, 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, so you have to stay focused and concentrated the entire time. There are some very tricky patterns at the very near ending, which can trip players up if you're not careful and not still right on your game. So we'll see how the players perform. I believe the day one score from Azer is still holding up as a top play on this. He had a 2x100 FC. We'll see if anybody here can match it. If anybody in this tournament is going to do that well, it is going to be somebody like a Bubbleman or a Doomsday on this skill set. So you have the early break from Matthew already, so United Kingdom going to take the early lead. And this was Chile's pick, so that's not going to feel great.
We saw some very good performances. I think, I believe there was a contested performance for Azers in the United States match. I think Kablaze put up 2 100s on this map, which is very impressive, but we've got a couple double S's rolling. There goes Intercambing again at the, you know, kind of like the quarter way section of the map here. So finding some early breaks on him, but he's got his teammates to back him up right now. Unfortunately, the UK has all 4 of their teammates backing them up with a lot of accuracy as well.
Yeah, this UK squad is having their way with this map so far in the first third. And I don't know, maybe it's this big stage, you know, just getting to the players from Chile a little bit, because we do expect, I think, a little bit better things out of Intercambing and out of Matthew. You know, known tournament player, Intercambing, as we talked about. Matthew, of course, just one of the best all-around players in the game. But United Kingdom showing no signs of weakness whatsoever. Still the double SS and over 99% accuracy FCs for the other two. So they're going to just run with this one. It is still a double FC for TFG and number 37. Chile does still have some room for a comeback, but it would require several misses from United Kingdom, and we're already getting past halfway, so those misses are going to have to start coming soon.
It's going to be close for the UK. We've seen a couple maps, so there's blue right there. That's a big one. I was going to mention, we've seen UK find a lot of late breaks here. Blue kind of just letting it slip here just past halfway. He is going to have a little bit of a higher score. It's not quite exactly at halfway, so he's not going to be, hard locks to that 650k at least. So there is a score gap here between him and a lot of the players on Chile that they have. But, as you mentioned at the beginning of the map, Bubbleman and Doomsday really the front runners for this. And you can tell just by the accuracy, really shows comfortability on this type of map. And they are kind of just running with this and saying, this is easy.
Yeah, I mean, you still see the continued double FC on TFG number 37 to match Bubbleman and Doomsday, but the accuracy difference between those players is stark. And that is going to contribute even more to the United Kingdom holding onto this lead, in addition to Majora having the FC to back them up as well. Intercamming and Matthew have recovered their combo quite well, but it's all going to be too little too late no matter what, I think, at this point, as the lead is over 200,000 points with just the final EI to play. And there's the break from Majora. That could have opened things up if it had come a little earlier and without that ending break from Matthew. Oh, hang on, we've got a break from Doomsday as well. I just think it's not enough time left, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is like right last second breaks here. It's going to be very close coming down.
This is going to come back to the ending.
This might be it.
This might flip over at this very end. This is going to be very, very close. No, Matthew breaks again. TFG and No 37 still holding on to the FCs, though they're going to flip it over at the last moment.
They won.
Chile's going to take it. That is incredible. The double FC paying dividends for Team Chile, and they steal their own point back in the last moments. The 1x100 FC from Bowman, but just not enough as number 37 TFGE hold on to that double FC. Matthew and Intercamping with the big combos, and those last moment breaks from Majora and Doomsday spell the end for the United Kingdom on that point. What a comeback from Chile on that pick. Wow.
That was absolutely insane. The combo that Chile had built up at the end of the map, and I realized I mentioned the fact that the UK have traditionally, they FC through the entirety of a map, and right when you hit the ending of the map, they have a lot of little breaks. I'm not sure if they relax too much or if the nerves are hitting them that they're still FCing or something, but it's not the first time we've seen the UK find those breaks at the ending. Unfortunately, they picked another map to do that on where Chile was just comboing through it. 2 FCs, and both their other players, Intercamming and Matthew, recovering insanely well from their earlier breaks in the maps. So Chile have gotten themselves back into this match. It is the UK's pick, so they have the opportunity to maintain their lead here, given that Chile won their own pick there. But that was a comeback that you love to see, that consistency into the end.
That is, boy, both picks from Chile have been so close. I mean, the first map on BS Power Explosion decided by 84,000. This one decided by 57,000. Chile on the board, and we'll see if they can run with that momentum. Their consistency players look really good on that map, and we're going to get into another consistency map here with the Nomad 5 Time Machine pick. This is considerably faster, of course, so it's going to rely more on a little bit of your speed than your low BPM, kind of awkward aim consistency. But Chile looked pretty good on that skill set, so if they've got players who are comfortable with this BPM, this could be another pick that they can contest for sure.
A lot of good speed on the side of Chile. We mentioned at the beginning of the match that, the UK was up 2-0, and we thought this was going to be a very contested match, and it wasn't looking like it here, but definitely counting Chile out, maybe slightly too early on that right there. Chile just getting themselves right back into this on the 2 picks. Something they do have to worry about, however, is that first pick from the United Kingdom, or first point rather, is a Chile pick. So they have a break point on the board, meaning if they just trade picks back and forth for the rest of the match, the UK is going to get the win without having to force tiebreaker here. So Chile really needs to find a strong pick that they think that they can line up for a break point here, because that needs to be a big consideration. Malteser coming in for his first map of OWC, now holding a double S, the only player besides Zaxraid holding a double S for the intro there.
You love to see it. Malteser, of course, as we mentioned earlier on, known as a very strong speed player, has played a lot of community tournaments, is very experienced in tournaments. This is, of course, his first OWC bracket stage match, so we'll see if he ends up getting any nerves from this larger stage. But he's a player who everybody in the community, I think, knows is very good at this type of skill set. And he's going to be a big asset for the United Kingdom on these speedier picks, alongside Majora and, of course, Blue and Bubbleman, known quantities for that team. Everybody's still holding their FCs through the intro, though. Just the lower accuracy from intercamming, dropping the score a little bit for Chile. We'll see. This is a very long map, requires a lot of consistency, and you have to maintain that 220 BPM stream stamina for almost 4 minutes. So there's a lot of time for a lot of things to happen and a lot of combo to be built up on this pick.
You know, it kind of looks like the UK has a bit of an accuracy right now. Intercamming and Blue matching each other on the accuracy. But the big difference right here is going to be the fact that Majora and Ritze have about a 2% difference between each other. Malteser and Bubbleman kind of match Matthew and Zaxxerid, you know, plus or minus a couple of hundreds on either side. But with no big breaks right now, this goes instantaneously over to the one team that finds any miss here on some of these longer streams right here. Ritze shaking a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes it's what you see. Oh, goodness, his cursor is all over the place. Oh, Ritze, please hold on, man. Nope, he does not manage to do it. I think that was a slider break on that Buzz slider, and that's going to be huge for the United Kingdom because Ritze had the worst accuracy as well as now having the one break. So United Kingdom should be able to take a bit of a lead here as his score immediately is 100,000 points behind anyone else's. That was not a good place to miss either, right in the middle, and he does find another break. Those shakes and those nerves really are haunting him right now.
Unfortunately, Ritze kind of taking the full force of a perfect storm right here. He misses around halfway through the map. He's got the shakes because it doesn't look like he's as comfortable on this BPM. There goes Malteser for the UK. So there is a break to trade it, but Ritze with that accuracy is going to lose so much score. I mean, Malteser, it does break later, but a 200,000 score difference is absolutely massive when everyone else is matching each other.
Now, that being said, the rest of the players in the lobby are looking pretty good. Bubbleman with a 1x100 FC, Blue over 99%, Majora at 98.6. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zaxxerid 99.8, just behind Bubbleman, and Matthew and Intercamming both just below 99. There is room. We saw in the last map, Chile is capable of some comebacks. So if the United Kingdom find any more of those late breaks like on the previous pick, Chile has the opportunity to try for a comeback, but we're coming into the late stages. Very difficult section here at the ending. We'll see if everybody can hold through. If the United Kingdom do, they'll take the point. But Chile are hot on their heels.
It's very important to note Malteser has that 190, 180k buffer over Ritze right now, which is slowly closing just a little bit. But that kind of leaves a little bit of room given any unfortunate breaks from the UK that may come at the ending here. So there is some wiggle room given that, but the UK is just looking really strong right now, and I think this map looks like it's going to finish off on just that difference in Malteser. And there goes Taxi at the ending, unfortunately.
Bubbleman coming in with a 1x100 FC. He is coming to play here today, man. Bubbleman saying, I am not going to get trapped by this surprisingly strong Chile team. I'm going to come in and show up and FC everything with ridiculous accuracy. And that is a 3-1 lead, and that is one of the best scores you're going to see on this map, I think, coming out from Bubbleman here. The double FC, of course, did end up happening. Intercamming and Matthew showing why they are two very strong players with a difference in score of 20 points between them, by the way. But just not enough to match the superior accuracy of both Bubbleman and Blue.
This is an absolutely crazy performance from Bubbleman today. This is the type of thing that, you love to see early round from him. And this is the type of thing that he comes in and does. He's, arguably or inarguably the best 1v1 player in the game with his, 3.5 rogue badges and counting in a lot of open rank range tournaments. And something to note is Bubbleman is now 4 picks into this match. He has played every single one. He has FC'd every single one and has 6 100s total. That is a performance that I don't really think anyone left in the tournament can probably beat in terms of overall accuracy and consistency. That is just insane. But Chile's got a lot of room left in this match here to work with. UK not at match point yet, so Chile certainly has the opportunity to keep themselves in this, especially being on their own pick here. They can bring this to 2-3 and keep it right behind the UK.
And they're going to go with their own pick into the alt map. They're going to go Nomad 3 Pirates Banquet, a very short alt map, just 1 minute and 54 seconds long. It's kind of a trend. I think we've seen a lot of short picks from several teams. but this is a skill set that I think Chile is quite good on. We joke about the intercambing method, but you know, in the recent tournament in Course Ace, watching intercambing on alt picks, he was ridiculously good at comboing and just not missing on alt maps. So this is a pick that I think Chile is going to feel pretty good about once again here. Now, obviously, United Kingdom provides a sturdy opponent on any type of skill set, but if they're going to give him a chance to carry here, he's going to try to take that and run with it.
Yeah, this No Mud 3 is, I mean, you know, this is a Bubble Man map. He traditionally comes in and just rolls through any awkward, gimmicky, you know, some of these like flow aim alt maps. However, Chile is running with Intercambing right now, who has traditionally put up equally impressive performances on maps like this, even up to late stage pools. So, you know, even the Bubbleman might be the favorite coming into a map like this. This is Chile's pick in the end. So there has to be a certain level of confidence here going up against the UK team. And I think with Intercambing's previous performances on maps like this, the UK's got a lot to worry about right now.
Yeah, this is a Chile roster that is going to be very good at this skill set. Intercambing joined by number 37, Ritze, and IGN. Players that are quite good at this. UK, Blue, Bubbleman, Kingling, and Doomsday. So this is, again, I think, like many of the picks in this pool for this match, a very contested one. So we're going to get underway and see if Chile can put another point on the board. Yeah, this is always that scary spot to be in. We've seen a lot of times teams at 3-1 down on their own pick, which means it could be your final pick of the match if you don't get a break point. So, very tough position to be in. A lot of nerves can come into play. But as we said, there's so many players in this lobby right now who can play this type of map very comfortably. So we'll see how they perform. Of course, Bubbleman looking to throw in another, you know, SS or 1x100 just to make his match costs look even better. No breaks in the first 300 combo, so, you know, people building up, and it's a very short map.
Ooh.
Okay, double miss from UK. Blue and Kingling, right after I say that, both finding the breaks. The lead is in favor of Chile.
You had to do it to him. We had to do something to the UK here today. Unfortunately, it's on the side of 2 breaks for the UK, not just one. One break is definitely recoverable on a map like this, given some of the ending patterns. IGN does trade one of those misses, but something to note is that big combo drop was just before halfway for Blue and Kingling versus IGN's almost right at halfway, and he also found another break after. So Kingling and Blue, they have a combo advantage now. They have a lot of built-up combo for a map that is not very long, which will be very big here. But 3 FCs is hard to beat. IGN
is having a lot of trouble, but he does have the benefit of having 3 FCs still on that side. Now, Blue and Kingling kind of combined to match 1 FC. So we'll see if it's enough if Bubbleman and Doomsday end up holding on. It's helping out the United Kingdom as they're trying to bring the score back. But there's a break from Doomsday, matched by number 37. That's worse for the United Kingdom, I would say, than for Chile. And that is 2 FCs still in Intercambing and Ritze. They should be able to hold on to this one, I think, with the double FC in the bag. It's going to be very tight here.
That was Blue's break right there. That was definitely the sealer at the end.
And that is another point for Chile on the board. 2-3, 3-2 in favor of the United Kingdom, and that is another pick. All 3 of their picks have been under 100,000 point differences. That one, 81K. So Chile showing up to play, and Bubbleman once again, a 1x100. What did we say, man? He is just here to freaking play today, dude. He is here to play.
Can we keep like a Bubbleman 100 counter in the bottom right hand corner of the screen? Just like tick it up to 7 really quick, because this is. It's one map, 1/100. Just keep running through. However, something to note, we did mention at the beginning, something that the UK had to worry about on that was Intercambing, and he did pull out the highest AC FC for his team on that pick. So, you know, even though it wasn't a Bubbleman 1x100 scary performance, putting up 999,000 out of 1 million possible score, it was a good performance nonetheless, and he top scored his team by 24,000. So, you know, the UK, like we said, not in a super confident position here. Again, it's just running back and forth on the picks here, and the very important thing is that Chile needs a break point if they even want a chance to see tiebreaker here, given that they lost that first pick at the beginning.
It's a very tough spot to be in when you are always selecting your own picks from 2 points down. You know, it's kind of like in a tennis match. You lose that early break of serve. It's the same sort of feeling, and you always feel like you're trying to play catch up. Same sort of thing here in Osu. Not the greatest feeling for players, but they're making the most of it here with 2 victories in a row on their own picks. But another Hard Rock pick here for the United Kingdom, and the Hard Rock that they picked as their first map of this match was by far the most one-sided at almost 1,000,000 points victory for the UK. They look way stronger on that skill set. So they're going to try to run it back into that pool. We have not seen Hard Rock do a whole lot. The another diff, it has been, I feel like one of the less popular picks in this pool. But UK feeling good about Hard Rock, so they're going to go into that map or that mod pool once again here with their next pick.
I think something that is good to note here is the difference between both teams on Chile's picks versus the UK's picks have been a stark difference. You know, you've mentioned a couple of times under 100,000 score difference on any pick from Chile in this match, regardless of whether or not they won or lost the pick. But the UK generally had bigger score gaps, and I'm not sure if that has something to be said about Chile maybe not playing their best today, or maybe just the UK looking exceedingly strong on everything here. But coming into another Hard Rock pick, this was something that the UK, you know, you said 1,000,000 point difference on this. This is definitely a little bit more awkward than Hard Rock 1 with a lot of this finger control, and especially that smaller circle size is going to prove for a couple extra picks.
Yeah, the CS 6.5 Hard Rock is always a little trickier. That precision aim, something that not everyone is as confident on. Intercamping, finding the early break for Chile, followed up by Matthew. Their 2 big carries on the previous map, both missing, as well as IGN, down only 1 FC. Malteser finds the miss for the UK, but it is a 3 FC to 1 difference already, and we're only 300 combo in. United Kingdom is going to run with this one, much like they ran with the previous Hard Rock pick on Painful Fate. Clearly just, I think, much stronger in this particular skill set. Precision aim, something that these players are very, very good at. Of course, Kingling, namely one of the best in the game at precision aim. Bubbleman having an incredible performance on the day, and Majora backing them up with an FC of his own, despite slightly lower accuracy.
So some good performances from a resident UK Hard Rock player, Kingling, right here. Most notably, the highest accuracy for his team. The first map in a very long time that Bubbleman has dropped a couple extra 100s on, but I guess if you're going to do it on any map, it's this. There's a miss from Majore there towards the end here. He does find a second one, but given the score difference at the end of this map here, and it's also the fact that both of the players that are breaking on the UK right now are players that have broken before. They're not losing any extra FCs here, so it's just the 1-2 still, the UK holding.
Yeah, this one might come back just a little bit towards the ending, but with Oman and Kingling on those FCs, it's not going to be a problem. There's a break from Zaxreed, just to add insult to injury at the ending here. And United Kingdom, once again, looking very good on their own pick. The 2 Hard Rocks now have been won by a combined 1.4 million points. Almost 600k on that one. And I think we can safely say that Hard Rock is a skill set that the United Kingdom is going to feel very good about, despite that late break from Kingling. Bowman rolling with another FC. He is at 6 of 6 here on the day. No FCs for Chile. They just fell behind on that one and were never able to really do anything to close the gap. And that is now match point at 4-2 for the UK. Chile's pick to come, however, and they have been able to find picks that they could win on their own side, so maybe able to bring it back at least 1 point. But they've really not been able to make much entryway into the United Kingdom's picks. So it'd be risky business even if they win their own pick, trying to find a break point to get to a tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's the big thing to note here, is that Chile really, you know, they're not having any luck getting into the UK's picks, but they're also barely bringing their picks in with those sub 100k score differences. So Chile needs to find somewhere that they can, you know, stick their skill set and get a confident pick out here, because this is quite literally their last chance to force a tiebreaker here. If they lose their pick, the UK wins and takes it all home 5-2. If they're able to take their pick here, they do set themselves up for the opportunity to grab a tiebreaker, you know, face off here. But with what the UK has been doing on all of their picks here today, it is going to be very difficult for them to find that opening in the UK's defenses here, especially with Bubbleman only now getting into double-digit 100 counts for the entirety of the match. He's now at 13. And Chile thinks that they're going to be able to pull that off on Sick here.
This is an interesting pick from them, the Nomad 4 tech map. selection. You know what, we kind of keep going on about the intercamping combo game ability, but this is again the sort of thing that I think is what they're thinking about with this pick. Mathy also somewhat I think of an underrated tech map player, but the way the United Kingdom is playing today, Bubbleman will probably match, so it's going to take a very good performance from Chile, but it always takes a very good performance against the UK, so I guess that's not saying a whole lot. But this is going to give us an interesting scene. This is a very different type of map than anything we've really seen so far in this match. A lot of high slider velocity sliders, some very tricky slider streams and slider bursts, as well as some 1/3 sections. You got a little bit of a lot of different skill sets in this one. Really kind of emphasizing that tech pick here for this selection.
So we have lineups attempting to be set here for both teams here. Chile, again, having Mathy kind of pop out for a bit here. Maybe he subs back in, unless they have someone like TFGE that thinks he can kind of roll through this map a little bit more strongly. But Saku, actually, we're going to be seeing for the first time this match. Not a surprise, however, this is definitely something I think that Saku could take. Something to note about this... Oh, no, I spoke too soon, and he is gone. We'll wait for Chile to find their pick, but something about this map that's important to note is this has really traditionally been an accuracy-based map, especially with all of the slider streams that exist in this. You either mistime your, I guess, burst on the slider stream and lose a ton of score and accuracy because you either slider break because score V2, or you drop all the hundreds at the end of the sliders. Or you hit it with double S, essentially, is basically how this map goes. We've seen, the full extremes of accuracy here. So TFGE and Ritze filling in the bottom for Chile on the final roster here. And the UK going to solidify it with Majori, Bubbleman, Voss, and Blue, 4 very strong tech players.
I'm surprised to see at match point down Chile picking a map that Mathy isn't in for as one of their strongest players in terms of mechanical skill. But, I say this a lot. Maybe they know something I don't with that roster for this map. Because, clearly they know their roster better than I do. They know their scores in practice. But you would expect Mathy on pretty much everything for that team, as considering how good of a player he is. So we're going to get into this one now and see if, even without him, Chile can get at least one more point on the board and force United Kingdom to close it out on their own pick. Or, if we'll see some more just Bubbleman dominance carrying the United Kingdom to a second break point and a 5-2 victory. This is a very tricky map. A lot of places you can break. And we'll see who suffers and who emerges victorious on it.
You could already see the effect of those slider streams on some players in here, most notably TFG and Ritze both tapping that one slider stream too early and losing all that accuracy down below 98. But there goes 2 breaks from Chile right before that long stream right there. That is already a big deficit for them as the UK continues to hold. Bubbleman finds his first break of the tournament on Sick.
It was a slider break, so he still has, I think at least, so he still has no actual misses, but that was his first combo break of the match. However, his teammates backing him up, as he has done for them so many times. Still a double FC on intercamping and TFGE, so they have plenty of fight left in them, right about halfway through here. If any of Majora, Voss, and Blue were to find a break, Chile would be able to jump right on it. But for now, UK going to hold on to a bit of a lead. Combo and accuracy pretty similar between the teams, really. Zach's read just slightly ahead of Bubbleman's combo. Ritze is the only player much behind. And we come to the break just at the 2/3 mark in the map. 150,000 point lead in favor of the United Kingdom. We're going to try to hold on to that through the ending here. It's a very tricky last section of the map. There are plenty of places you can miss. This is not over yet by any means. But the break from Ritze is going to hurt Chile pretty badly here as we come into the last couple hundred combo.
This is looking really strong for the UK here. Bubbleman with that very early slider break, but everyone else holding strong. Majori at 99% still, along with intercamping. Both of them putting up the act performances that you expect from holding it. But the UK into the finish there, finding the point in the end. Chile not able to make it work on their last pick. That was actually the biggest score deficit of any pick that they've had. And on a questionable one at that, definitely not something that Chile has traditionally been favored towards slider streams and tech aim, but the United Kingdom just proving to be a little bit too strong today. Chile, they put up a very good performance in the ending, and they took 2 points. They had the opportunity to take a third with that first pick that they let slip just barely, but well played to both of these teams. The United Kingdom will be the winners of this match today. They'll be advancing to the next round of the winners bracket, whereas Chile will be falling down to the losers bracket. So no team eliminated yet, but still 2 matches per weekend now for Chile. The UK will be going next week to face off against South Korea.
That's the rematch of last year, the losers bracket final, that 3rd place match. We all know how that one ended up with South Korea winning on that tiebreaker, but 2 very different teams this year. Both the United Kingdom and South Korea have switched up their rosters considerably, so that's going to be a very different matchup, much earlier on in the tournament this year, at the round of 16 instead of so late. But I'm excited for that matchup, and I believe in the meanwhile, we may be able to switch over to catch at least one map of the ongoing China versus Italy matchup, where China just took the first break point of the match and are up 4-2, looking to close that one out.
We'll see what's going on over there. Italy just losing that one for the 4-2 lead for China right now. I'm seeing a lot of David Q2 on the MVP here, so I'm very interested to see the performances that he's putting up today. But China with a strong lineup this year. I think a lot of people counted them out given how much their roster changed from last year, and Italy coming in with a very strong lineup this year. But I mean, we're seeing something very reminiscent of the match that we just left with the UK versus Chile here with the 4-2. Italy with their opportunity. This is China's pick though, so Italy needs to be really careful here. Italy's a strong stream team, so I'm kind of surprised to see China opting in for a Nomad 2.
Well, that was the previous pick. Nomad 2 was just played. That was the preceding pick that Italy just lost of their own.
There we go.
That was the 6th map of the match, so it is going to be China's pick upcoming. But yeah, this was, I think, on paper, one of the closest matchups, I think, in the round of 32 here. You know, China led by players like Crystal and Extreme, GGBY, of course, David, who one of the strongest players so far, judging by the match history for this match so far. But Italy, of course, led by Koba, Synchro, Ryuzaki, some very good players on that roster as well. I think this one of those matchups that looked like it was going to be very close and has been relatively close, as we can see, taking 6 maps before a break point occurred. But that gives China the immediate match point with their own pick here. It's, you know, just, I think the little things, obviously we haven't been able to see what has actually happened, but it looks like it's been just some relative, some back and forth between relatively one-sided picks and relatively close picks. There have been a couple right around 200k, but there have been also a couple points at 950,000 points, 750,000 points. So a little bit of everything in this one, and it's going to be the Fremod 2 pick for China as they look to close things out. Genso no Satellite, mapped by Scub Domino.
Definitely a pick that I think favors China on the free mod here. China is a team that has a lot of players that can play multiple mods, especially on an early stage free mod, and the stats here are not too special for either Hidden or Hard Rock. You have CS 3.5, which is not very small with Hard Rock, and AR 9.3, which if you play Hidden normally is something that you are all too comfortable with. You've seen super often. The only big difference here is that 230 BPM, 2 minutes and 14 seconds as well. Very, very short map here. So any breaks, as we've seen traditionally in this early stage here, have been kind of the nail in the coffin for the teams here. So it could go any way here. We saw Italy with a very strong start against China here. They were trading picks back and forth until China got that break point. But Italy going to try and put together a lineup to keep themselves in here. If they win China's pick here, they will be able to have their own pick to force tiebreaker here, which is exactly what you want. You want to be able to have something confident that you can put together a solid lineup for to kind of maintain your nerves to go into that tiebreaker here, because this has the potential to be a very, very close match in the end here. But China looking to close it out.
Yeah, I think I'm very interested on this one to see who runs which mods, and I do think, with this being the stage that we're in, we're going to see some more very strong performances on this pick from a lot of players. David Koo, from the looks of things, has been absolutely going off. Crystal is an incredible early round and into late round player. My Angel Miku, one of those players that I don't think a lot of people know about, but he is capable of some very strong tournament performances. And then, of course, the somewhat questionably named I'm a Burger Fox, the artist formerly known as Ebisuzawa Kurumi, formerly known as Play Offline. I don't know that he's been on OWC under those names previously. As we see the mods coming in here, some over mods from China. David Koo on the hidden only, no surprise there. Hidden hard rock on both My Angel Miku and Crystal. On the other side, a hard rock on Synchro with Simone Trapani on hidden. So as some of these teams have seen, you put your top player on the Nomad pick, Koba coming in on Nomad alongside Kurochi.
So we have a slow start to the map here. A couple big accuracy drops, but that's, I guess, how Score V2 is going to work on something like this. But the mod player's gonna be the big difference here, and that over mod from China hopefully doesn't cost them into the end here. That's something that we've seen from a lot of the really strong teams. The overmodding is something that they've opted in for, but it can also cost you if you're not as confident as you thought you were finding any break here. As you mentioned, 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and there's a trade from Simone Trapani to David Q2.
And those two both the hidden only players, so it's not going to be like a mod disadvantage for anyone. I mean, technically speaking, China's always going to have the mod advantage as long as they have combo on those two double mod players. But there's a decent amount of tricky stuff in this one, a very awkward aim map, and especially with it being 230 BPM, not the most comfortable for everyone, but most players still not having any trouble. And really the only difference between the teams right now is the mod advantage for China. The accuracy suffering just a little bit on Kurumi and on Crystal, but Synchro not having a good time either. 94% his accuracy, 97 on Simone Trapani. So relatively similar accuracy for most players, and this is a map where accuracy is kind of at a premium anyway. But that's really still just the mod advantage, all that's keeping China in the lead on this one. Those combos are identical on David and Simone Trapani.
It's such a close map right now, and I think something that's really hurting Italy is Synchro's misaim there. All right, I was going to say his accuracy, but that misaim is going to hurt Italy even more. So that's a 2 FC disadvantage now, and Koba as well.
That may have just put the nail in the coffin there for Italy. Unfortunately, it looks like this one's going to be going the way of China now. Not much Italy can do but hope and pray that China full combo resets, but Italy has full combo reset themselves with Hiroshi and Simone Trapani missing again, and this one is going to be over. Is going to be a 3-way FC for China. My Angel, Miku, Crystal, and Kurumi going to all FC the map. David Koo just with the 1 break, and that's going to be China taking it. 5-2, the victory for them. A very strong performance once again. And this China squad, like we said, I think some people kind of slept on them, and that is a bad idea because they are a very strong roster this year, especially in these early stages.
Yeah, China always, people question their roster changes every year, and I think they always show up with some semblance of what they had in the previous year, especially, bringing back a couple of older players, and this is going to be a better year for China than I think people would expect. They're certainly not the strongest Chinese team that we've ever seen come out in an OWC. However, they are trying to make those strides towards getting back to that peak performance here, and they're definitely doing a good job of it, taking a pretty handed win 5-2 in this round of 32 match. Again, they will be advancing to the winners bracket in the next round. They are going to be facing off against, I believe,
Poland.
So that is a difficult.
That's gonna be dude. I'm telling you, this round of 16 is as stacked as any round of 16 I have ever seen in any tournament. There are so many just incredible matchups next weekend already, and we still have a couple matchups left to play today to determine the last couple of pairings. But the round of 16 is setting itself up to be a banger of a weekend.
Yeah, look at that. The bracket on your screen right now. We already have Canada, Taiwan, France, Hong Kong, Poland, China, and Russia, Japan up here. Those are some very solid matches, and we'll go over to the other side of the bracket here for you. United States has yet to find their opponent here. We have Romania versus Norway coming in about an hour from now.
Australia versus Brazil. That is going to be good luck, chat moderators. And then we have Germany, Turkey, the winner of that match facing off against Indonesia. And then South Korea and Great Britain, the rematch we mentioned. So lots of good matches here to come.
Yeah, I am very excited, not only for Romania versus Norway later today, but of course for next weekend as well. We have a lot of those matchups set already. As Chillier said, we will be returning in just about an hour's time for that match between Romania and Norway. That's going to be at 17 UTC. And then to top things off, later on today, we will have the final match of the round, Germany versus Turkey. We'll see if Turkey can pull off the 1-point win again this year like they did against the United States last year in the round of 32. And then, of course, you want to stick around after that because we will have the round of 16 map pool showcase following up that last match of the day. So a couple matches left and the map pool showcase as well. So some good things to watch for the rest of today as we will be closing out the first bracket stage weekend here of this year's tournament.
So it's been a very exciting 1.5 matches this morning that we got to see. United Kingdom, and then we unfortunately only got to see part of China versus Italy, but a good finish there. So the United Kingdom and China, your two winners of today. Again, as we mentioned, we will be back in about an hour for the Romania-Netherlands match. But Norway, I am, it's 11 a.m. Don't quote me. We're rolling with it today, but we'll be back for that match, and we will take our leave for now. So please stick around, maybe grab some food, grab some drink, and come on back for that match. It's been a pleasure commentating with you this morning, T1G. As always, thank you for joining us.
Thank to you as well, Chillier. Always a great experience. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see everyone in about an hour's time.